What is good, guys? It is Reed and welcome back to a super dope video. Today I'm going to be showing you a very awesome way to force any picture card you want, and not just a standard card force. This is a completely verbal, hands-off force, and it feels extremely fair, and it's really great for group environments, getting everyone involved. Absolutely awesome. Now this will be using our beloved EQUIVOQUE or EQUIVOQUE, but it is going to be using it in a very cool way. It's all layered together, really well thought out, and each aspect is perfect. It makes a lot of sense. If you watch my EQUIVOQUE video, you'll know you need a logical question that has a logical answer that follows with a logical rebuttal, so that everything ties in and the spectators don't question anything. So this layering of EQUIVOQUE will allow you to force any picture card you want, anytime, anywhere. You don't need anything, and you can use this for anything. So many different effects. It's so great. You can use this in any card, any numbers, super impressively. You can use this in playing card divinations, predictions, all kinds of things. And being able to have this tool allows you to take so many effects and make them feel like a thought of card or a completely random card, because they never touch the deck, and still limiting them to the picture cards, it doesn't ever feel like it's limiting. It feels like they had a choice of all the cards, but they end up getting limited to the picture cards, and you have this absolute miracle. So if you guys like this video, make sure you hit the like button, comment something down below, and make sure most of all you're subscribed, and if you really want to, hit that bell, because it helps out the channel a lot. So let's not spend any more time. Let's get right into how to verbally force any picture card you want.
Now we need to create a playing card. And in the same fashion, if I ask you to name one, you might say the Ace of Spades or another very common card. So we're going to build up a card in a way that's totally random, so neither of us could know beforehand what it is. So first things first, I want you to imagine that I'm holding an invisible deck of cards inside the box. Okay? Mm-hmm. And there's black cards and red cards. I dump out one of the colors. Which one do I dump out?
Red.
Red. So we dump out the red ones. Perfect. So now I spread the red ones, all the red cards in my hands, and there's diamonds and there's hearts. So what I want you to do is repeat diamond and heart in your head. So just go diamonds, hearts, diamonds, hearts. Just keep switching and switching and switching. Now I'm going to say stop. And when I do, I don't want you to say anything out loud. Just stop on the one that you're at in your head. Okay?
Okay.
Keep switching, and stop. All right. Now, if you were to change your mind one more time, what would you be at?
Diamond.
Diamond. So you're at hearts in your head?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one. Okay, so now we have the hearts cards, and I take all of the hearts and I hand them to you. Can you grab them? Take them. All right. Now you spread the hearts in your hands, and you separate them into the picture cards, the face cards, and the number cards. Okay, so do that for us. Separate them. Perfect. And now you hand one to me. Which one do you hand me? The pictures or the numbers?
I'm gonna hand you the numbers.
The numbers. So now you're left with the pictures. So spread those picture cards and look at them. Focus on them, right? You have the heart picture card. So there's a Jack, Queen, and King of Hearts in your hands. Now we need to narrow it down. So name one of those.
Jack.
The Jack. And that felt like a free choice, right? We've built this card, the Jack of Hearts. You made every decision, right? Yeah. So now we're at the Jack.
So this is a pretty simple system. It's going to use some EQUIVOQUE in a lot of cool ways. It's going to use the suit force and the color force that I've taught in my EQUIVOQUE video, but I'll go over it again here. Then it's going to use a lot of other really nice little questions and answers and layers to be able to force it down to the specific picture card, exactly the one that you want them to every single time. All right, so for a quick overview, this is how the process is going to go. We're going to have them pick between black and red. Then we're going to have them pick a suit of the leftover color. Then we're going to have them pick between the numbers and the pictures, and then we're going to have them select a picture card. So that's essentially how we're going to go through this process, and I'm going to give you now the questions to get through that. First things first, you need a logical reason. Why are we doing this? Why aren't they just naming a card, right? And the logical reason for that, there's two good ones you can use. One is incredible if you're in a group setting. All you say is, I want to get everyone involved here in creating this card and building up this card. So now it makes sense why we divide it into all these steps and ask different people different questions about the card. Now it feels like everyone had an input onto that card. And this is awesome. My favorite way to use it. It's great because you can take a simple any card, any number, get like 10 people involved in it now. You have someone deal, someone name the number, and then like 5 people create the card together. So I think you can get up to like 5, maybe 6 people in on just the creation of the card itself, and that's why it's so awesome. Now, when you're in a solo situation, the strategy I like to use is typically to say that, you know, if I were to just ask you to name a card, you're very likely to name a common card like the Ace of Spades or the Queen of Hearts or something like that. So I want to make up a card in a very random way so that neither of us could know what that final card would be. So we're going to build it up slowly, step by step. So that's your justification for why we're going to go through this process, all right? So once you've set the scene, step 1, we're going to force the color. So for this example, we are going to go through the force of the Jack of Hearts, how I would force the Jack of Hearts. But again, you can force any picture card that you want doing this. You just have to change the order of the questions and your responses, right? If you want to force the black instead of the red, you just literally flip those in your mind. So you can literally force any card doing this, but again, I'm going to go through the Jack of Hearts for this example. So it's very simple. You don't need cards, you don't need anything. You just say, I want you to imagine I have an invisible deck of cards in my hands. There's the red cards and the black cards. Now I dump out a color. Which one do I dump out? Now, obviously, if they say red, it makes a lot of sense. We dump out the red cards and immediately you say, so I spread through the red cards. So what it looks like is you say, I want you to imagine an invisible deck of cards. There's red cards and there's black cards. I dump out one of the colors. Which one do I dump out? The reds? All right, so I spread the reds in my hands just like this. So that's how it works, right? You have your logical question, logical response. So the logical question is, you know, which color do I dump out? The logical response is black or red. Obviously, that's the logical answer. And the rebuttal of, so I spread them in my hands, is very logical to everything that followed. So there's no sort of red flags in their mind. So the modification you make if they say black looks like this. All right, so I have an invisible deck of cards. There's black cards, there's red cards. I dump one of the colors out into my hand. Which one do I dump? The black ones. Perfect. So now we're left with the red ones in the box. See how you just sort of slightly shift the logical rebuttal so that it makes sense. And I like that little gesture. That's a nice little subtlety, right? Because you said, which color do I dump out? They say the blacks. So now you mime. You don't even need to bring attention to it. You just mime throwing them over your shoulder like you're getting rid of them, and you draw attention to here and you say, all right, we're left with the red ones in the box. So again, they say black, you say perfect. So we're left with the red ones in the box. That's the force. Simple. Now we need to get back to that point where we're spreading the red cards in our hand, right? That's the sort of next logical step of this sort of story that we're doing. So if you end with the red cards in the box instead of spread in your hand, then you just say, all right, so I'm going to take those red cards out and I'm going to spread them in my hands, right? So now we're at the same situation. Either way, you're spreading with the red cards in your hand, okay? Now that whole step can be done with one person, right? You just ask one person to name the color of the cards that come out of the box. Now this next step for the suit force is super cool, one I love to use. I first saw on Alex Pandrea's channel, and it can essentially, you can use 2 people for this, which is really cool. So first things first, we're at this point where we're spreading the cards and you say, all right, so I've spread the red cards in my hands. You can see all the diamonds and all the hearts. Now, what I want you to do, you look at someone and you say, I want you to just keep switching between hearts and diamonds in your head. Just keep going. Hearts, diamonds, hearts, diamonds, hearts, diamonds, hearts, diamonds. Just keep going and keep going. Now, you point at someone else. So this is how you get 2 people involved, and you say, now you're going to say stop in a second whenever you want. And then you look back at person number 1 and you say, when they say stop, I want you to stop on whichever one you're on in your head, but don't say it out loud just yet, okay? Makes sense? You clarify. So it's very important that you set this all up. You say you're going to say stop in a second, and then it's very important you tell this person that don't say it out loud just yet. Because if you don't say that, they will stop on whichever one they're at, and they'll just blurt it out. And we don't want that yet, all right? So again, to reiterate, person 1, you say, I want you to start switching between the suits, hearts, diamonds, just keep repeating them over and over in your head. Now you're gonna call stop in a second, and when you do, I want you to stop, all right, at whatever you're at, but don't say it out loud. Perfect, so now you say, all right, now call stop whenever you'd like. You wait, person number 2 calls stop. Person number 1 has now stopped on one in their head. Once they say stop, immediately you turn to person number 1 and you say, if you were to change your mind one more time, what would you be at? So here, if they say hearts, you have a hit, right? It's perfect. In their mind, what happened was they stopped on one, and now I've just said, and just switch one more time, right? And they've switched and they've said hearts, and that's the one we're gonna go with. So it's perfect. But here's the brilliance. If they say diamonds, then you throw it back on them and you say, oh, so you had hearts in your head, right? That's a good one, let's go with that one. So what you've done there is there's this moment of, they switch one more time and you're like, okay, so you were on hearts, so that's a good one, that's the one you want. Because in their mind, they're never gonna question that because they were on hearts in their head and that is the one that they chose, right? If you're thinking about this from a logical perspective, he told me to stop and I have one in my head, that's gonna be the one we're gonna go with. But if I tell you to switch one more time, and we go with that one, that's okay because I never said the one in my head. So, you know, it's just making one more switch. It doesn't really change it. But now if we switch and I say, okay, but you were thinking of the one in, you're thinking of hearts in your head, right? And they say yes. They're not even going to remember that little moment of me switching and then, you know, saying, because they were on that in their mind the whole time. So how it looks like, if they say hearts, you say, all right, if you were, and this is important, you say, if you were to change your mind. So now it's like an example almost. So if we need to go back on that statement, we can. So you say, if you were to change your mind one more time, what would you be at? They say hearts, you say perfect. All right, so hearts it is. And if they say diamonds, it would look something like this. So if you were to change your mind one more time, what would you be at? Diamonds? Oh, so you were at hearts in your head. That's a good one. All right, let's go with that one. And now you just look at them, you nod, and you'll get that confirmation that they do want to, in fact, go with that one. So you have that nice moment also where you say, so let's go with that one. And you're kind of nodding like that, and they'll nod back at you, and they'll be like, yeah, let's go with that one. That's the one I chose. You can even, a little bit more bold, but I typically do this. I'll say, so you were thinking of hearts. Do you want to go with that one? That's a great choice. So I'm now asking them, so I get that yes confirmation. So it feels like even, you know, it really feels like their choice. But me nodding and saying, but that's a good one at the end, right? So I say, so you were on hearts. Do you want to go with that one? That's a good one. And I nod and I say, that's a good one. And that's going to make them feel like they almost have to choose it. And it was a good choice. So, and they're going to stick with it. They're always going to stick with it. They won't change their mind. So now we've narrowed it down to the suit, and we're going to go for the force of the picture card. So here's the next moment. We bring it back to the fact that we have the cards in our hands now. We have the hearts, right? So just after we get the hit on hearts, you say, all right, so I have those red cards. We'll get rid of all the diamonds. And now we have our heart cards in my hand. Now I'm going to square up those cards. I'm going to hand them to you. I want you to hold on to them. I like to get them to mimic taking them. It's kind of fun. So now they'll take it. And remember, this can be person number 4 by now, right? So we've done person 1 on the color, person 2 and 3 for the suit, and now we're using person 4 for the next aspect. So you say, here, hold on to this. And what I want you to do is, I want you to imagine you separate them into the picture cards, the face cards, and the number cards, all right? I usually say picture cards and face cards because sometimes picture cards confusing for people, and face cards is what they understand, but you don't have to say that. So I say, you know, so imagine you split them into the face cards and the number cards, and just hold those picture cards and number cards in your hand like that. So now they'll be standing there like this, right? I'll have the pictures in one, the numbers in the other. And I say, you hand one to me. Which one do you hand to me? Now, if they say picture cards, you say perfect. So now I have the picture cards, and once again, I'm spreading those in my hand. So it all ties in, right? It's made logical sense each time. They give me those picture cards, so now I'm spreading them in my hand, and I'll say, all right, you can chuck those number cards away. And it makes perfect sense. If they say the number cards, I say, all right, so you give me the number cards, we get rid of those, and you are left staring at the picture cards. And now, again, it makes so much sense because, of course, if they keep the picture cards in their hands, they're going to be, not for their next decision, they're going to be looking at all those picture cards. So, to quickly reiterate, you tell them, all right, so we have those heart cards, I'm going to hand them to you, and I want you to separate them. Imagine separating them into the number cards and the picture cards. They do that, you say, now, I want you to hand me one of those. Which ones do you hand me, the numbers or the pictures? They say the pictures, you say, all right, perfect. So now, once again, I'm spreading those picture cards in my hands, and you can see the heart picture cards. And we don't need those number cards anymore, you can get rid of them. If it's the other way, same sort of deal. You say, all right, you hand me one of those. Which one do you hand me? They say the number cards. You say, perfect, I'll take those number cards. We don't need those. And now you're just focusing on those picture cards that are left in your hand, okay? Those heart picture cards, just focus on those. And once again, we're forced down to that suit we want, right? So as you can see, this is very, very easy, but we can force any picture card. Now, all we have left to do is force the Jack, Queen, or King. Right, so this is going to come in one really easy sort of question, sort of easy little ploy. And we're not repeating any of the ploys, so they won't sort of catch on to anything, and it's really, really nice here. So now we've used 1, 2, 3, 4 people. Now we're going to turn to a 5th person, and we're going to say, now they're holding those picture cards in their hands, or I'm holding it, depends on which scenario you end up in. Either you'll be holding them, or they'll have them in their hands. Regardless, you hand them the picture cards, or you have spectator number 4, hand them to spectator number 5. So now you say, all right, you're holding on to those picture cards. We have the Jack, the Queen, and the King. Now, we need to narrow it down, so I just want you to name one of them. Now, this is a really sneaky line. You say, we need to narrow it down, so I want you to name one of them. Because logically, in their mind, the one they name would be the one they choose. But since I've said we're going to narrow it down, I can flip it and now say, you know, I said narrow down, so we'll get rid of that one if need be. But watch how this plays out. So let's say they say Jack. Let's go best case scenario. So I say we need to narrow it down, so name one of them. They say Jack. You say perfect. You want the Jack? Perfect. Let's go with that one. Done. right? Easy. So now let's go with a different situation. You say, you're staring at that jack, that queen, and that king, those heart picture cards, and we need to narrow it down, so just name one of them. Queen, perfect. Name another one. King, perfect. We'll take that queen and that king, we'll get rid of them, and that leaves us with the jack, right? So you see how easy that looks. Super fair, super easy. It makes perfect sense because we said we're going to narrow it down. So they've named the queen and the king. We're narrowing it down. We're getting rid of them. Also because they've said two, logically we left with one. So instead of saying, they say queen, you say, all right, we'll get rid of that. Then they say king, you say, all right, we'll get rid of that. If they say one that is not the one you want, you immediately have them name a second one, all right? So if they say king, you say, all right, and name another one. And if they say queen, you say perfect, all right, so we'll narrow it down, we'll get rid of those, right? And now you just have that one get rid of, but it all makes sense. Now, the situation where they name a different card first and then the card you want to hit second, this is how you would handle that. So, let's say that they say queen, you say perfect, name another one. And then they say jack, you say perfect. So now we have the queen and the jack left, right? We're narrowing it down and you chose queen and jack. Okay, so now we're at this position. And then I say, all right, and now just imagine setting one down on the table. Which one do you set down? They say the jack, you say perfect, the jack. That's the one we'll go with. If they say the queen, you say perfect. So you set down the queen. What are you left holding on to? I like to ask them, have them repeat it. It almost makes them feel like that's their choice, right? You say, so you're left holding on to what? They'll say the jack. You say, perfect, to the jack. Out of all those cards, you narrowed it down, and now you're holding on to the jack. So I hope that all makes sense. I'll recap that last little aspect of narrowing down from the queen, king, and jack. So basically you say, we need to narrow it down. I want you to name one of them. If they say jack, you say perfect. Your choice, you made all the decisions. You could have set any card, but you set on the jack. I like to always recap a little bit at the end. If they say king or queen, you immediately would follow up with, all right, name another one. If they say the other one that isn't the one you want, so in our case, queen and king, then you say, perfect, we'll take that queen and that king, get rid of them, and you're left holding what? And they'll say the jack. If they happen to say one you don't want and then the one you do want, you would say, name one, they say queen, you say perfect, name another, they say jack, you say all right. So you have that queen and that jack left over, you made all those decisions, now set one down on the table for me. If they set down the queen, you say perfect, so you're left holding one card in your hand. What's that card? They say jack. They set down the jack, you say perfect. You set down the jack, that's the final card, we'll leave it there, imagine it face down on the table, and that's the one we'll go with. So you can see at the end, no matter what case scenario, you can spin it to make it feel really fair. You can either say, what's the card you have left? And I really like that question. You ask them, what's the card you have left? They'll say the jack. Now it feels like, that's their choice. Recap a little bit, say, think about that. You made all the decisions and you chose the jack. You chose to be left with the jack. If they actually chose it, right, they said jack, the only one, then you say you chose jack, because now you can really emphasize up that choice, that 1 out of 3 choice. If they ended up, we ended up eliminating the other one, so they're left with the jack, you can again say you made all the decisions and you're left with one card instead of you chose one card. So you can just kind of change the scripting a little bit, make it feel totally fair. So it's really, really incredible how fair this feels. I really think it's important to hype up the imaginary aspect and have all these gestures, so at the end you can say, think about that. You guys made all the decisions. And right there you can have 5. You could even have a 6th person if you wanted to do the last place a card in a different person's hand. I think it works better in just one, but right there you've got 5 people to help create a card. It's absolutely random. Everyone else made the decisions, yet you're in full control. It's really just about practicing the script. So make sure you go through this script and really listen to everything I've said and all the important nuances and aspects. And the biggest tip I can give you is that recapping statement at the end, where you either say, and you chose, out of all, you could have made any decision, but you chose to have that jack. If of course they said jack on that final choice of 3. If they didn't and they said, queen and king, then you'd say, all right, you made all the decisions. You could have picked any decision. You made a decision. You made a decision. But at the end of the day, you're left there standing holding the jack. Think about how incredible that is. It's literally impossible. We never could have known, right? Hype up your things so you can do your reveal or whatever the case happens to be. So that is it for me. I hope you guys liked this little video on this EQUIVOQUE force of any picture card. Now, this is essentially, in my mind, a force of any card, right? Like, it's a force of 1 in 52, in a sense. Like, yes, you can't force the number cards, and you totally could. You could adapt this to force number cards, but then you need to get more questions involved. You have to go kind of odd, even. You'd have to add in there. You'd have to kind of do some narrowing it down. I think it gets too complicated, and I would stay away from that. I think it's so much better with the picture cards. And if they always feel like they have a choice of 1 in 52, up until the moment when you cut the number cards away, it's always going to feel like a choice in 1 in 52. So this is really a force of any card, right? We can't think like a magician, oh, it's only for the picture cards. it's any card, right? Take any trick and just make it a choice of a picture card, but to them, you know, you still hype it up as a 1 in 52. So it's absolutely incredible. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this video. Make sure you leave a like if you liked it, or if you didn't like it, I don't care, please leave a like. So one last thing, guys, I just wanted to say I am offering private magic lessons. If you send me an email, we can set up a little consult just to discuss your goals, what you want to learn, and we can get it moving. It's an awesome opportunity for mentalists and card magicians and really any kind of magician to get in touch and really work on your skill, hone in your craft, whether that's performing, whether that's learning tricks, or getting some of those really nuanced aspects, or anything I've taught on the channel, you know, that you want to learn, or get some of the more details behind. You know, when we're one-on-one, I can really address your specific needs and help you out. So if you would like that, just send me an email and we can get it going. I have several clients and I would absolutely love to get in touch with more of you guys. So if you are interested, send me an email, rf.sleights@gmail.com. So with all that said, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.